was there to become a banker, but landed up becoming an anchor.
Okay.
But I never wanted to work in a typical corporate scenario where you go swipe your card and you have that 9 to 5.
Female entrepreneur basically to raise the funds, to prepare themselves, to actually entirely focus on the startup journey. What do you think? What are the major challenges the female entrepreneur faces, which you have seen in the journey of Encubay?
Either knowledge, which was with how to do a business,
Right.
or mentorship, or just guidance, or it was a lack of networks, which was you being able to have a circle of peers who are on the same journey as you, mentors who can guide you, and everyone that you need. They say that you need a village to raise a child, and it's the same even with a business.
Business
There's very little that you can do completely alone, even having a co-founder. From the time women come to us with where they are and seeking investment, but not being investment ready. And I think I've had multiple stories when I see them, on the day after the prep that they do with us, when they pitch. And if not investment, at least they walk away with confidence, with feedback, with certainty of having made progress. I think that's extremely gratifying.
Avneet, so we have designed particular fun questions for you.
Okay.
It's going to be a rapid fire. Whatever first comes to your mind, you have to answer that.
The first thing is, of course, clarity of vision, right? Where, there are many. So I, kind of funneling it down to one would be giving a very blanket statement, which may not, as much as it may motivate them when it comes to actuals, there is also the practical stuff
Right.
that you need to bear in mind, right? So any investor today is always betting on two things. One is the quality of the founder. And when we say quality of the founder means what? How much determination do they have? How much clarity do they have? How much, how trustworthy are they in line with what they're saying?
With the vision.
Are they doing it, or are they just faffing and fluffing? I used to feel embarrassed to ask for help. I used to think that, oh, shouldn't I have all the answers? And if I ask for help means I don't know
Good
enough. I'm not good enough. I don't know enough, and that others are going to judge me.
Yeah.
And of course, using technology, I think today we are very blessed where there are so many of these tools. I, for the longest time, used to run away from, embracing technology. And I don't know how I had a limiting belief that, technology and mathematics is not for me. So I would literally be planning and doing everything on like a small diary and using chart paper to do my planning. And the minute there was one mistake, I'd tear the whole chart and do everything again. A platform में the first name, Women First, right? Which is first identify who you are, identify what fills your soul, identify what are the success metrics for you, and prioritize yourself and map your career journey. I think everything begins first with yourself.
Hi, Avneet. Welcome to our show, Her Talks, podcast by Women First Jobs. And I think it's a pleasure to have you on our show. And I always wish why we didn't meet earlier, because it's a lot to learn from you.
Thank you for having me, Priyanka. And I'm so happy to see Women First. From the first time I met you to, every time I meet you, you're growing in some way or the other. So keep it up. And thank you for
so
having
much.
me.
Thank you so much. So the first question is that what inspired you with this transition from the media and entertainment industry to all of a sudden to the entrepreneur journey, and that too at a very young age?
Yeah, I was, of course, I went for my graduation to Bombay. I was a management student, and media happened to me by chance. I was there to become a banker, but landed up becoming an anchor.
Okay.
But I never wanted to work in a typical corporate scenario where you go swipe your card and you have that 9 to 5. So for me, entrepreneurship was the next best option. And what led to the transition was actually my mom, because she would always tell me that Avneet, she was like, you need to have a plan B. You cannot only rely on media as a career, because now when the good is going, it's great. But, in her mind, and now much later, I agree that in media, everyone has a certain shelf life. So you got to have a plan B. At that time, I didn't see the truth in what she
Yeah,
was
parents
saying.
are always right. Yeah.
Not always, but yeah, I see the merit in what she was saying. And fortunately, I was, building my first venture alongside having a full time media career. So, yeah, I think entrepreneurship was the way to go.
That's nice. So your startup, should I use the word startup?
You can call it whatever you like.
Okay. So,
Business.
okay. So your business helps the female entrepreneur basically to raise the funds, to prepare themselves, to actually entirely focus on the startup journey. What do you think? What are the major challenges the female entrepreneur faces, which you have seen in the journey of Encubay?
I'll circle this a little to my personal story before I give you context for what I see, because I see a very vast variety. So for me, I never really went to, a B school or an Ivy League college or anything of that sort. I was a self taught entrepreneur. And what led to Incubay's birth also, alongside my business partner, Diksha, uh, was the fact that both of us really struggled being first time entrepreneurs with no formal education in making mistakes and learning. And when we reflected back, what we found was it was often a lack of either knowledge, which was, with how to do a business,
Right.
or, mentorship, or just guidance, or it was a lack of networks,
Mhm.
which was you being able to have a circle of peers who are on the same journey as you, mentors who can guide you, and everyone that you need. They say that you need a village to raise a child, and it's the
Absolutely.
same even with a business.
Business as well.
There's very little that you can do completely alone. Even having a co-founder helped so much. And so knowledge was a miss, networks was a miss, and of course capital. I used to fuel my business from my full-fledged media career and make money from there and invest it in this. And I think just before the pandemic, my life kind of led me back to the UAE, and I had a 2 year sabbatical in my career because of burnout, entrepreneurial burnout. And mental health has been a huge part of my journey. So when I had those 2 years of literally reflecting on what could have led to a different outcome as an entrepreneur, it was these three key words that came up, which is knowledge, networks, and capital. And today, the more and more women I engage with, it's the same scenario. Maybe the level of readiness is different. Maybe somebody could be starting out on their business journey where knowledge is a miss, where somebody could be somewhere in the middle where they now need access to larger networks, and we are present between India and UAE, 7 active chapters. Or it's, of course, capital, but even to get to capital raising, they don't have the knowledge of how. So it comes down to these three things. And if I was to give it a fourth, it would be exposure, or, personal branding is the kind of things that I see women lacking.
No, I really like this concept of knowledge, impact, and network, and that too attached with the fourth one which you just mentioned. That
Knowledge,
is
networks, capital,
in
exposure.
an exposure. I think most of the females, which I can also see, is that they are lacking on that part. They want to do it, but somehow the knowledge is missing. So, rightly mentioned by you. Can you share any success story from your journey with Encubay, which actually left a lasting impact on you?
I think I'm a living example, but if I were to give you others, uh, we had, I'll maintain confidentiality of name and identity, but just a very recent example last year. During GITEX, which is one of the largest startup
Right.
shows that happens in Dubai, year on year we bring in a delegation from India, and we organize multiple events over here to bring the ecosystem together, right? Which is right from investors, founders, mentors. We bring them all together to essentially engage on partnerships, on diversity, and on value exchange. So, one of the ladies who came in, she was still in a full time corporate role. She comes from a background in marketing, has been a working professional for almost 14 odd years, married, has, 2 kids, and is based in Dubai. In spite of having such a long career journey, she didn't have the, you can say, confidence or the clarity to jump into entrepreneurship. Uh, when she came in for our event and we had a chat, I mean, for me, I actively practice as a coach. So, over multiple conversations, I could feel the discontent in her job and the desire to do something of her own, but not having the confidence or the support system to get started. We asked her to, join us and start assisting us with certain things, which she did. And as a result of working alongside Incubate today, she in 1 year has launched her business, exited her job, and it brings me so much gratification. She's also become one of our core consultants who we go to when we need support with marketing. That was one case. The other was, we of course do a lot of uh, investor and founder engagement pitch days, right? So I have seen transformational shifts from the time women come to us with where they are and seeking investment, but not being investment ready. And I think I've had multiple stories when I see them, on the day after the prep that they do with us when they pitch. And if not investment, at least they walk away with confidence, with feedback, with certainty of having made progress. I think that's extremely gratifying.
Okay, that's really lovely. But Avneet, how do you identify and nurture such startup founders with the potential to create a global impact?
Priyanka, now it's become expertise. I mean, initially, of course, we wanted to assist as many women founders as possible. But as a business, I think what we have also learned is you need to, how do I put this? You need to have a differentiator yourself.
Absolutely.
And if you do something for everybody, you do nothing for nobody.
Right.
So for us to specialize in something and also be able to identify these women entrepreneurs, first it's always a conversation or them sending us their company profile. By looking at the profile itself, and that first conversation gives us a lot of insight into how clear are they, what have they tried, what have they not tried, what has worked for them. you know Today startups have become, when I was starting my business, we would, as I said, it was an accidental or a self-taught journey. Today there are various terminologies and checkpoints that you can have. Like, if you all watch Shark Tank, etc., they often talk about market size.
Right.
They talk about roadmap and traction and these kind of things. So we have those, uh, you can say, markers that we check for, and that's what helps us identify where they are and where can we add value to them. And we only work with those where we know that we can really assist in scaling up. So we have now specialized at working with founders who have started, right? They've done something, they're not completely at zero just with thinking about a business, but they've started, they've done some things, now they're struggling to grow or they're unclear. That is the niche that we work with.
Okay, and you actually assist based on certain guidelines or maybe the parameters which you have prepared.
We, of course, yeah. So it depends on what are their goals, right? Some of them are looking uh, for more customers. Some of them are looking for investments.
Right.
Some of them are looking for, let's say they're based in India, they're looking for market access to UAE. So as per their goals and as per their readiness, we, of course, consult with them on what should be their growth strategy.
That's nice. So Avneet, so we have designed particular fun questions for you.
Okay.
It's going to be a rapid fire.
Okay.
Whatever first comes to your mind, you have to answer that.
Let's go for
Yeah,
it.
okay. So what is the one word that define your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, one word.
It's a rapid fire.
Okay. Accident.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay, your go-to productivity hack.
Using a calendar.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. If you could have dinner with one entrepreneur, who would it be?
Oprah Winfrey.
Ah, nice. Lovely. Invite me as well then.
I will.
Okay, so a destination on your bucket list.
Next is Greece.
Beautiful. An app that you can't live without.
An app I can't live without. WhatsApp. I'm
Come on.
constantly I'm constantly on it. But apart from that, with respect to work, I think Canva is something that I use.
Hmm.
Trello is something. I mean, it's hard to pick one, but WhatsApp is like non-negotiable.
Okay. And your guilty pleasure?
Chocolate.
Ah, okay. If you were not an entrepreneur, what would you be doing?
Ah, I would be uh, an inspirational speaker slash philanthropist who would be doing, I don't know, impact driven, community driven work. Don't ask me how I would finance myself, but I know that doing something for the greater good is always what is encouraged me versus doing things purely for commerce. It's also, I think, a privilege to be able to say this because, I mean, I'm well supported to be able to have such an intent. So, yeah, I think that's what I would be doing.
Okay. And this is the last one. So describe Encubay in 3 words.
Knowledge, networks, capital.
Oh, I knew it. Okay. So let's jump back to our question. What advice would you give to the women entrepreneur trying to secure funding in a competitive market? I'm really interested to know it.
Um, the first thing is, of course, clarity of vision, right? Where, I mean, there are many. So kind of funneling it down to one would be giving a very blanket statement, which may not, as much as it may motivate them when it comes to actuals, there is also the practical stuff
Right.
that you need to bear in mind, right? So, any investor today is always betting on two things. One is the quality of the founder, and when we say quality of the founder means what? How much determination do they have? How much clarity do they have? How trustworthy are they in line with what they're saying?
With the
Are
vision.
they doing it or are they just faffing and
Right.
fluffing? Right. So there's of course a huge personality side of it, but apart from that, they are investing in you not as a donation, not as a charitable cause. They're investing in you to make money,
Right.
right? So how does your business stand for a strong case where can it operate without you, right? Is it scalable enough? Because only when the business grows to a certain extent is when the investor can make money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the right place to go is a bank loan, right? Where
Right.
you need to
Right.
finance your business. So today, very often founders, I have seen a lot of cases where they make their business, either they don't know that it is not venture backable, which means
Mm-hmm.
that a venture capitalist would want to invest in it. For example, service businesses are not venture backable,
Mm-hmm.
right? Technology businesses are,
Mm.
product businesses are, but women don't know so. They
Hmm.
keep trying, they keep trying, they keep
Right.
getting rejection without knowing the reason. So that's one of the basics. The other thing is, of course, the vision of the founder, right? Whether can the investor see a clear roadmap to wealth and exit, which means when
Hmm.
does he get his money back
Understandable.
with
Right.
a
Right.
whatever premium on whatever he
Hmm.
put
Hmm.
in.
Hmm.
So that is what I think women need to. Uh, I mean, anyone who's watching this needs to bear in mind that if you're looking at venture capital funding, it's suitable for certain businesses, not suitable for all.
Mm-hmm.
And your investor and you are a marriage. It's you are going to be tied for nothing short of 5 to 7 years,
Right.
if not more. So, in that duration, having your values alignment, having trust, having all these
Hmm.
aspects
Hmm.
is very, very important.
Oh, I think this is a wonderful advice. I think most of the females are not even aware about these aspects actually of the funding.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, burnout is a recurring challenge for high achievers. And how did you personally overcome it? And how do you guide others facing the similar struggles?
Uh, I mean, I can now write a book on burnout because I've been burnt out to that extent, right? I mentioned to you 2 years I was on a sabbatical, and when I say sabbatical, almost a vegetable because my health had gone for a complete toss. So, forget professionally, even personally, I was not operational, along with being followed with clinical depression and all of that. So, I think my take on burnout would be the first thing is uh, knowing why you're doing what you're doing,
Right.
right? Very often we start chasing success without knowing what that means for us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're constantly running without having clarity of what is the finish line that you are seeking. And in my case, I didn't have that clarity, right? Today, with various bumps in my journey, and hence I call myself a vision coach as well, where I work with people on their life and their business vision. This is very important for you to be clear of, if I need to go from, for example, Bardubai to Business Bay, if not, there are many roads I can go,
Yeah.
but I need to know that I want to get to Business Bay. I can't keep saying that I want to get to the sunnier side,
Right.
right? So that is one thing. And apart from that, so clarity of vision is one thing that can help you avoid burnout. And along with that, also having your, support system around you, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Hence, what we do, having a network of peers which keeps you motivated, is able to, refer some things to you, is able to just share and be on the same journey, helps a lot. I was very alone when I was doing this, and I used to feel embarrassed to ask for help. I used to think that, oh, shouldn't I have all the answers? And if I ask for help, means I don't know
Good
enough. I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. And that others are going to judge me.
Yeah.
And of course, using technology, I think today we are very blessed where there are so many of these tools. I, for the longest time, used to run away from, embracing technology. And I don't know how I had a limiting belief that, technology and mathematics is not for me. So I would literally be planning and doing everything on like a small diary and using chart paper to do my planning. And the minute there was one mistake, I'd tear the whole chart and do everything again. So I think using tools today, embracing technology, not getting overwhelmed by it, right? Ultimately, what is it going to take? It'll take you watching another extra 20 minutes of YouTube to probably little more time, maybe another week, 10 days, 2 weeks to try and play with the tool. But all these tools that I'm talking about, Trello, Canva, X, Y, Z, it's a matter of getting used to it.
Right.
And running away from technology is just honestly being foolish. And the faster you adopt it, the easier you make your life. So, yeah, these are the things I would say, clarity of vision, embracing technology, and having a support peer network that helps you be your support system on the journey.
Yeah. But don't you think, Avneet, I think this is quite common with most of the female entrepreneurs. They think we are enough and we can do everything. Just whatever is coming to our way, we know everything and we can do everything. I mean, like, because we are the females. I think this is a common tendency which actually lead to the burnout at the end.
So there was an interesting article I was reading recently, which was about the superwoman phenomenon.
Yeah.
Okay, where whether it is the families that we grew up with, what we saw as a part of Indian culture, or more so the our age group, right? Millennials currently, where initially most women were purely homemakers, right? But a lot of our generation has also had working mothers, and we've seen them juggle both. So we don't even realize when we are constantly trying to
Achieve
match up to
everything.
them,
Yeah.
or be better than them, or overperform as high achievers, as you said.
Right.
So I think I can't speak for everybody because it's a very individualistic choice and journey. But I constantly tell myself I am not superwoman, right? There is 24 hours in a day.
Absolutely.
There is this much that I can do. There is this much that I want to do. And over and above that, I need to reevaluate my expectations from myself and my current, situation.
Yeah. And we need help, we need support, we need to delegate.
100%. And I think another thing, which really helps, like today, in spite of being a practicing coach, I have a coach, right? I invest in a coach and it's not cheap. But there's two ways you can learn and cope in life. One, either you make mistakes, lose time, go through pain, and try to, do the entire dark night of the soul yourself. Or the second is you associate with somebody who can at least show you the signal saying that, okay, there's a left turn here, okay, there's a right turn here. And I think working with, and whatever that might be for you, right? In some cases, with the nature of work that you are doing, and women who come to you seeking jobs, one is that they sit and apply on LinkedIn, or they
Right.
come and engage with a professional who knows how it works and prepares them. Similarly, in my case, if you're an entrepreneur, either you make all those mistakes and go through that dark night of a soul, or you engage with somebody who can be there guiding you. And I think that I always tell people that, consider your coach as a guide on the side
Right.
versus a sage on the stage. They are not somebody who know it all, but all they have is your best intent. Your success is their success. So having that is extremely important, whoever you may choose. It could be a professional one, it could be an elder in your family. If you're trying to, let's say, somebody who's built a large business, but somebody that you can go to who can be there constantly, not just on an advisory when you go to them basis, but someone who's building with you, who's building you on your journey. I think that's extremely important.
That's I think that's a wonderful advice. So Avneet, coming back to the startup ecosystem, how do you see the evaluation of or the women-led startups are evolving globally these days?
How are they evolving is, again, it's a two-sided sword, right? There are many of them who are not evolving, either because of lack of, confidence, or lack of all the factors that I spoke to you about. They stay small, they play small, right? They don't create a large enough vision for them.
Right.
They consider what they are doing as a pastime or a hobby, rather than thinking of what could that be if there was no
Yeah,
limitation,
grand, yeah.
right? The other aspect of things I also see is women who are extremely ambitious, and however they manage to do it. I think certain trends that I will see is a lot more women building tech ventures now, where traditionally it would be like fashion, jewelry, beauty, food, those kind of ventures. Today, women are not holding back from building technology enabled businesses.
Right.
Uh, Also, I think financial literacy, though I think there's a lot of work to be done, we are still,
Absolutely. Yeah.
miles behind, but maybe also shows like Shark Tank and all of this has sparked that desire that I want to. I don't want to hold myself back from becoming a unicorn. Having a conversation on unicorns is a whole different podcast. So let's do that again. But they do invest in knowing, in learning, in upskilling, in understanding finances, in building tech ventures. That's what I see.
Okay. So what one piece of advice you would like, you wish you had received at the start of your entrepreneur journey?
Your only competition is you. I think. Uh, I mean, I grew up in a household where you received, I mean, due respects to them, right? My parents were, I had a working mother. I was the middle child. I had to uh, always be the sandwich where you're taking care of your younger brother, and uh, you're your mother's strongest support system. So for me, it was, I mean, performance driven. There was a lot of love that was given if you were performing well. And I think when you grow out of home also, you somehow, you know, you hold yourself up to such high standards where you don't even know why you're running or who you're competing with, right? And then when you, of course, the world is competitive. We have trillion, if not billions of people who exist. Koi na koi to, you're going to find on your journey who is going to be on the same path as you. Then you get into comparison and all of that. So I think And in spite of that, what I figured is that your journey is your journey.
Your journey, absolutely.
And you cannot, I just wrote about this on LinkedIn literally day before yesterday. You cannot compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. Because you might see them in the, in chapter 20
Right.
when things are working out for them, but you may not know how much hard work that person has put in, what sort of setbacks, what sort of challenges, our personal growth that person has invested in for them to now be there. And what you do is compare yourself to what you see today versus knowing enough. So I think what I would tell myself is compete with yourself. If every single day you can be even like 1 degree better than what you were the previous day, the compounded effect of that uh, is much higher than you trying to peg yourself against someone else. Don't forget, I was also in media, so comparison was, even if I didn't want to, people would do that. But I've had to really rewire myself to focus on myself, focus on my growth, and uh, compare me to me.
No, I think this is a wonderful piece of advice, because most of the time, most of the people, they just either compare themselves with the others, or I mean, like, in this journey of comparison, they forget about themselves most of the time, because the actual improvement or development, I think, only happens when you know who you were in the past and what you want to be in the future. So
100%. That self awareness work, as difficult as it may be, is something we all need to do. And that is where, you'll see results versus even if you compare yourself to whomever and you run however fast, inauthenticity doesn't pay off. Right. So if you are in alignment with whom you are and you're secure in your own self, that is when you're most confident, because there is nobody else who is you.
yeah.
And everyone's trying to be someone else, but if you can be you, then you're the only one. So you automatically are a lot more self-secure, self-assured, and that, if you have that energy, it transcends to others as well. Others also pick up on it and embrace that versus being like, okay, she's one more person who's uh, running behind something else.
So if you could instill one habit in any of the entrepreneur you meet on your daily basis, what that habit would be?
I would have, the ideal answer would be exercise, but I'm guilty of that myself. I haven't been doing it recently, but I think it's extremely important to move your mind, body, and spirit. So doing that for yourself is important, and I'm guilty at the moment to have a very idealistic stance on that. But I think on the self care side of it, having a cutoff time, in the day, not always being available, and that's the thing, right? If we are not swiping the card 9 to 5, the good thing about a job is at least when you swipe that card and you leave, you leave for the day.
Right.
You don't think about work until the next morning.
Right.
With entrepreneurs, the go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle culture can catch up. So I think consciously setting boundaries around time, around, break time, vacation time, end of day time is extremely important. So for me, that is 7 o'clock. The clock strikes 7, and my mobile and my work and my laptop, it has to be shut. So I think that's one self-care tip that I would give.
Yeah. So in the entire journey, don't forget yourself.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your vision for Encubay for another 5 to 10 years?
Priyanka, you're talking to me end of year when I'm crafting this, I've literally
So
been
this
on
is the right time, right?
Yeah.
You can discuss.
I've been on a vision boarding exercise with, trying to map this out for us. But what I would like this platform to become is, number one, work with genuinely those, cohorts of founders who have that ambition and drive to really make it big. Now, whether we do that through education, whether we do that through, global access and market enablement, because ultimately I want our growth consulting piece to really, do well and have those horses in the region that I can say, okay, these are the,
Hmm.
10 horses who ran the polo race, and all 10 of them have had progress, if
Right.
not win. So that's one thing that I'm targeting for next year, which is to have 10 businesses who made a volumetric shift in growth. Of course, along with that, strengthen our network between India and UAE. We've been very fortunate to expand to 7 cities, but I also want to get organizations now more involved in what we are doing. We've done that successfully in India. I want to do more of that in UAE, where we do more B2B backed projects, whether that is initiatives, whether that is financial and tech literacy programs, whether that's accelerator programs, whether that's business launch programs. So I do want to onboard many more organizations to do this with us. And of course, prepare as many women and facilitate investments. So these are the things that I'm chasing, which is finding my 10 horses for the year, making sure more capital, we're able to raise as much capital for these women and more. And of course, onboarding organizations to also join what we are trying to do.
That's really seems promising, and all the best to you for that.
Thank you.
And this is the last question from our end. Is there any message you would like to give to the audience, those who are watching this and they are going to listen to this podcast? Any message through our platform you want to spread the word out there?
आपके प्लेटफॉर्म में the first name, women first, right?
Yeah.
Which is first identify who you are, identify what fills your soul, identify what are the success metrics for you, and prioritize yourself and map your career journey. I think everything begins first with yourself,
Absolutely.
and I think everything else snowballs into the outcomes that you want. So, yeah, women first.
Thank you so much. I think this is a lovely advice, and I'll keep on repeating it for the people. But
Just so that others know, this is not a paid podcast and I'm not promoting, but
no, no,
I,
no.
I
Yeah.
genuinely, I believe if you're able, they say, right, you put the mask on yourself, it becomes easier to save someone else. As women, we're always saving others except ourselves. And when it's time to do things for ourselves, the tank is running empty.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're able to do that, whether it's your own personal growth, whether it's your own self-care, whether it's your own
Yeah. Fill
ambitions
your
and
cup
dreams,
first. Yeah.
you can do everything else.
Lovely. So we discussed about the ecosystem of the startup and how it is affecting the females, how networking and spending on yourself in terms of your knowledge, awareness, and everything, how it is important, and how the ecosystem is changing in terms of funding, raising funds, and the several awareness. Thank you so much, Avneet, for coming on our show. It's really insightful, and to be very honest, I really enjoyed the entire conversation. I think it's very knowledgeable for me as well. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Priyanka. Thank you so much for having me. And I wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
Rise and shine with everything that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As we wrap up this insightful conversation, Avneet's journey reminds us that success is not just about ambition, but also about alignment. Aligning your vision, your purpose, your thoughts, and action to create something meaningful and wonderful. Whether it's empowering women and entrepreneurs, or building global networks, or helping individuals define their life goals, her work is a testament to the power of resilience and purpose driven leadership. To all the listeners out there, take that first step, embrace the challenges, and stay true to your vision. Because, as Avneet says, the path to success begins when you start believing in yourself.